Yeah.
know?
Yeah. 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 And another thing too I want to touch on is, and I don't mean to get into this sector, but I think me personally, and this is my opinion, and this is just general context, because a lot of us are Aboriginals who had ancestors that came from the Americas.
Yes.
Okay. That's a whole nother thing. So it's like a lot of propaganda is like put within these black vegan groups. Oh, our ancestors from Africa, da, 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 da. But do you not know a lot of black people who are in the Americas, ancestors were from here?
Mm-hmm.
So what about the ancestors here?
Right.
Because they, like we all were taught, even when we were in school, that they ate buffalo and the white man came and took their buffalo away. 100%. That was their main food source.
100%.
Okay?
Yep.
We never heard any stories of American indigenous people being vegan. Period.
Never
heard of it. Never heard of it. They had plants, I'm sure, and different herbs and stuff like that, but they ate buffalo and bison and other native animals. Exactly. Okay, so I don't know who started this trend of connecting ancestors to being only vegan. And I've even heard notions of, oh, well, yeah, the priests and the priestesses and these spiritual groups within our ancestors were vegan, and like they were the ones that were raw foodists and were just vegan so they could receive messages and stuff like that. And it's like, just like the sister mentioned earlier, veganism is a part of fasting, just like any other fast. If you go on a water fast, if you go on a juice fast, if you go on a gallbladder fast, liver cleanse, those are intended to be for small amounts of time. Those are not to sustain you. They're not. Yeah. So there's a lot of, I go back to say, there's a lot of emotional stuff, a lot of traumas that a lot of black people that have these bigger platforms are attaching our traumas as a whole, as black people, okay? They're attaching our emotional traumas that we are still dealing with to this day to veganism to push that message. Mm-hmm. And I will debate anybody on that topic. Okay? And it's like, you cannot be pushing emotional stigmas and traumas that we are still dealing with to try to correlate, try to make a connection with some ancestral stuff that you don't have any documentation on.
None.
Not only that, not only that, but you don't even have documentation on your immediate ancestors, your ancestors from 2-3 generations ago that were vegan. Yes. So if you're sitting here trying to tell me that the ancient ancestors in Africa from hundreds and thousands of years ago, 50,000 years ago, 10,000 years ago, 5,000 years ago, 2,000 years ago was vegan, but your immediate generations, 2 generations, 3 generations from you, immediate ancestors, right, were not vegan. Do you see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You're absolutely right. It's just like when people purpose to connect themselves so far back, mm-hmm. It's like, guys, do you even know who your 4th grandmother is? Your 4th generation grandmother is? Do you even know what she ate? You know what I'm saying? Do you know? Most people don't. Most people have no idea. They have none, you know? And so it's like, you know, we just have to be better about that. We have to be really better about it. And you know, our goal, we're going to do some more videos. Our goal really is really about health, you guys. It really is about holistic health and not dogmas of, oh, you're going to be more spiritual if you do this. Or you know what I'm saying? And just like she said, like, they're preying on our traumas.
Yep.
Truly preying on our traumas. You know what I mean? And making buku money. Like, do y'all really understand? I could have been out here, both of us. You know what I'm saying? We really could have been out here making bank. And I'm not playing.
Yes.
I'm not playing. Yes. Okay? A lot of these gurus and health people that y'all follow on IG and Facebook and YouTube, I know them. We know them.
Like Logic said, they are my idols, have become my peers. That's facts.
You see what I'm saying?
A lot of these master teachers that y'all watch and stuff like that, and granted, all of their information isn't wrong, but a lot of this shit needs to be revived. But they are our peers. Right. We're not just speaking and just trying to come for people's heads and necks. This is real life shit, B.
I I love your energy so much. Yeah, it's real though.
Real life shit.
You know what I mean? It's super real. And it's like, I had to make that decision in myself, and something just would not, my spirit would not let me get on these platforms and push this stuff. Because I was like, I need to test this. I need to have like more or something behind me. And I'm thankful that I didn't. You know, I did to a degree, but I didn't really get on here like I could have been on here. I could, y'all. Okay? When I met this woman, we were doing a documentary.
Yes, facts.
And it was some names in that documentary. Do you understand what we saying?
Facts. Facts. I did that when I was 24, 25, y'all. Like, this shit real. This is not new. We didn't start on this shit when it was popular. It's popular now to be vegan. It is popular. It's the thing. I was doing this when it was I could not go nowhere to find recipes. I was going to my library. Y'all, do y'all hear me? I was going to my library to get recipes on vegan dishes. Library. It wasn't even on YouTube.
Come on.
Y'all.
YouTube. Okay? We created YouTube. We didn't go on YouTube. I didn't even know about that stuff. You see what I'm saying? Like, we didn't know this stuff, y'all. So it's like, we're really purposing to just take out. And again, like she said, a lot of the information is like muddled, right? You got some facts, and then you got some doctrine, and they mix that in there, and they get you on one of the facts, and then slide that doctrine in, and you like, oh, okay. And before you know it, you like this, and you in there. You know what I mean? So we're just purposing to bring about that balance back. Like, look, you need to be asking questions. You need to be asking for methodologies. You need to be asking people more than just, oh, eat fruits, nuts, vegetables, and nothing, you know, all the living. My thing is, I don't understand how people don't think that, how people think that plants that you cut from the root are alive.
Yeah.
They die from the moment you disconnect them from their source. Do you understand that? Like, it's just like animals. Like, what? It's the same thing. You know, somebody said, could you talk about food combinations a little? I've been introduced to that. Well, I mean, the idea behind food combinations is that you really want to keep it simple. You know, that's something that I've come to find out since I'm no longer vegan. And I practiced it when I was vegan. That's probably why, I don't know, if you're vegan, you may not want to practice that. you need to combine as much as you can.
Yeah, I agree.
To get those proteins and everything together. However, if you're not, the idea behind food combination is that, you know, your proteins require an acidic environment to digest, and your starches require an alkaline environment to digest. Really, the base foods require different environments to digest. And so the idea is, when you mix baking soda and vinegar, you get what? Gas, you get explosion. So the same thing happens. It neutralizes in your stomach, and your body isn't able to effectively and efficiently digest that food like it should. And so what ends up happening is you have rotting food, and then also too, your body begins to say, oh, you know, I didn't digest any of that. Now I'm hungry again. And so you start overeating. You have all these different things that happen. So the idea is, you eat meat by itself or with vegetables. You eat like starches with vegetables. You don't combine like meat and bread. You don't combine like, you know, heavy proteins and things like that. Do you want to add to that or say anything on that?
Oh no, I definitely agree. I definitely agree. And then too, you know, this is another thing. I know you like, dang, girl, you just.
No, this is another thing. This is what we're here for. Go ahead.
We have to realize there are so many other aspects to nutrition and health outside of what a lot of these gurus and master teachers are teaching, to the exemption of a few who have mentioned on these things. So one thing I want to add to the food combination thing that I think may be relevant is the aspect of medical astrology. Me and Jonelle are always going in about astrology, and this is something too. It's starting to gain more popularity now, thank God. But this is something too that is a part of a true healer's tools, if you will. It should be a part of their tool. Their tools when it comes to health and nutrition. Some people are able to digest better than other people. It's just their makeup. So someone who needs to be super strict and super simplistic with their food combining stuff, somebody else could eat all that stuff together and they could be fine. You know what I'm saying? So that's another thing that we have to look into. And then another thing we have to look into is if your body is even at a clean state to be able to absorb and digest the food anyway. Because as we experience being vegan, most likely you're going to have leaky gut. You're going to have leaky gut issues. That's a fact. And if anybody If anybody knows anything about hydrocolon therapy, they will tell you. When I went to go get hydrocolon therapy done, and I was vegan, that was getting that done at like the 8 or 9 year mark. They was like, yeah, you got a lot of yeast going on. You got a lot of parasites. It looks like the vegan diet may not be working for you. You need to start implementing more. You need to start implementing fish again, and you need to take out a lot of those refined grains and carbs.
Yes.
Okay. And I'm telling y'all now, and this is even outside of the realm of Black folks. I know white people, I know Black people, Latino people, a wide variety of people, once they are vegan, whether they stay vegan or not, they have leaky gut issues. That is a fact. And or fatty liver. That's another addition to that.
Yes.
And so a lot of us are not even at the level in which we need to be able to absorb these things anyway. Yeah. So this is something that you have to look at. You have to look at the holistic thing, period. You may get some energy from being vegan. Yeah, you may get some energy. Yeah, because I mean, you're not putting in as many chemicals and stuff like that. If you're eating a whole plant-based diet without the processed stuff, you may receive some, benefits. But long term, what are you sacrificing?
Right.
Okay. Brain health. And we know the gut works simultaneously with the brain. So if your gut is messed up, you're gonna be having some issues in your brain. That's automatic. It's one and the same. And so these are the things that we need to be really going deep into when it comes to this vegan stuff. When it comes to you really sitting down with yourself and having the motivation and the willpower and the strength to tell yourself, okay, I know I thought XYZ about vegan. I know it's my identity. I know that people know me for this. I know that I have suggested this diet for everybody else, and so many people have become vegan because of me. All of those factors may be true, but you have to step outside of all of that shit and be like, you know what? I'm having issues digesting my food. I'm having issues with my adrenal glands.
Yes, mommy.
I cannot go above a certain height or I feel like I'm gonna pass out. That is the indicator that your adrenals are fucked up. If you are going up high elevations and you can't handle it, you don't know why, you just can't go any further. If you're mountain climbing, y'all know what I'm talking about. Your adrenals are taxed.
Yeah.
They're taxed. And so you gotta look at it like that. If your adrenals are taxed, then you gotta know, once again, your adrenals are a part of your endocrine system. It ties back up to your hypothalamus, your pituitary gland, because they have an axis that they all three work on. All those things is gonna be some miscommunication going on. Yeah. Okay, so this is why I'm super passionate with what I do, because I know through my experience, it was not just a few physical factors of me not being able to gain muscle, me not having energy. It was a lot of even small connective issues that was going on internally that I fucked up because I was vegan for so long.
And nobody talks about it.
And nobody talks about that stuff. And this is another thing too. I suspect being vegan for long term as to anxiety issues. This is just,
it does.
I think being vegan for prolonged periods of time as to the increases in anxiety that we deal with and depression. Now, granted, I'm for sure, I know I had anxiety issues and depressions before, but it was definitely not on the level and the severity in which it is now, because I'm still healing myself, or then, because I'm not getting the proper fatty acids, I'm not getting the proper vitamin D. That's a whole nother thing. I'm not gonna get on into all that, because people talk about eating mushrooms. Me personally, research that I found, Black people should not be eating mushrooms, but I'm gonna say that for a whole nother day. And there's different forms of vitamin D. Okay, you have vitamin D2 and vitamin D. You know what? I'm not gonna get on to that. Okay, but what I'm saying is, really, really research. Okay, don't allow people to tell you what to do for your life. Now, granted, if you're vegan and you think it works for you, cool, go down that path. Okay, but what I'm saying is, and I'm sure Jonelle can attest to this too, when your body is telling you to get off of that shit, get off of it, because the earliest that you can get off of it, I'm telling you, you will not regret it. I wish I was not vegan for 10 years, y'all. I wish I was not. And I'm telling you, I enjoyed the cream of the crop of veganism. I did a documentary. I'm meeting all my peers, all my master teachers, Dick Gregory, Dr. Sabi Circle, all these people, all these different doctors, all these different healers and holistic people. Okay, I'm meeting all these people. They are still my peers to this day. Some of them.
I'm telling y'all, she not
At the height,
the same place.
And I'm thinking, I got all the information. Oh yeah, but granted, when I was meeting these people, some of these people, not all of them, meeting them, I'm like, they do not look healthy. A lot of these sisters, they're missing a lot of fat because you can see their collarbones. They don't have any fat on their shoulders. They're depressed. They have a lot of anxiety. Their emotions are all the way fucked off in person. Yep. Y'all focus on seeing people on social media, and you're seeing all the pretty pictures, and you're seeing all the money and them doing this and all the advice. But when you meet these people in real life, their energies are straight shit.
Terrible. You know why? Shit. It's like, it's a combination of them being that way, and then number two, as a vegan, it's only so much you can do. You do get antsy. You do get nervous. You start getting twitchy because you don't have no B12s. You don't have no oils in your head. You don't have no fats in your head. You know what I mean? And like we were saying, biomechanically, like, your body is not even absorbing the stuff. That's what I'm saying. Like, we are, you get, 28 grams of protein from a cup of broccoli, and the steak has, the same amount. And you're like, oh, well, I can get the protein. And you're like, no, it's not the same. Just because you introduce it does not mean you absorb it. One brother says, the thing I never hear some teachers mention are the difference of how ruminating animals, which for people who don't know, animals who are chewing like grass and things like that, absorb plants much better, and why when humans do consume those types of animals, we absorb those plants directly. Yeah, because I was the biggest person. Oh, you don't need the middleman. You do need the middleman. You need them because they can do things that we cannot. Again, the human digestive tract is not designed. We have one stomach, and this is the thing that I had to deal with too. Stomach acid. Nobody talks about how you lose your stomach acid, and your stomach acid gotta stay acidic, y'all.
Yeah,
gotta stay acidic. Do you know what happens when you stop putting in proper foods that allow that stomach acid to stay acid? It starts to become alkaline, and you start getting weak stomach acid. Now you get reflex issues. Now you can't digest your foods. Now you gotta get all these probiotics and stuff like that, rather than being able to do it yourselves. And this is the issue. People aren't speaking on all these different factors that go in to, nutrition. They're just like, oh, I feel good. And I'm like, yo, heroin make you feel good. I don't think people do it because it make you feel bad initially. You know what I'm saying? Like, just because it makes you feel good doesn't mean, like you said, it's long term. And that's the thing. Like you said, you got people who've been doing stuff for 2 to 3 years. And I'm going to be real with y'all. I have never seen it yet. I've never seen a vegan look good and look fat and healthy and like alive. I've never seen it. Digestive system not designed for me. Okay, well, if you say the digestive system isn't designed for me, I'm going to need you to back that up with some proof. Because the thing is, I used to say that too. I used to say the digestive system wasn't designed for me, but I heard that from somebody. I never actually did the studies, because guess what, sir? Today I grew arugula in my garden, right? And I can't eat a bunch of plants. You know why? Because I just shit it out. It doesn't even go through I don't even absorb it. It just comes right out. That doesn't happen with the meat. That doesn't happen with the meat at all. It happens with the plants. It happened with the amaranth. It happened with the cashews. It happened with the beans. It happened with the plant foods. When I eat meat, I don't have any problems. My stomach literally spasms when I eat plant food. So when you're saying that the digestive system is not designed for meats, mami, hola, I'm going to need you to back that up, because to just say that, to just use your words and not actually have some facts behind you, it's ridiculous. Because guess what? The animal foods is 80% water, y'all. Just like we are. We're flesh, but we're 80% water. So when you start saying that you can't digest meat, it's like, okay, you ain't really did your homework. And now you about to get rid of over because you haven't really did it. And you come on here saying something when you heard somebody else say something that you trust and believe, but your problem is that you're trusting and believing and not testing. Do you see what I'm saying? And so that is the problem. And you're saying that, but I said that too. And I was wrong. You absorb all of that animal foods. That's why you have fruits. You do have foods, but you know what? What you're gonna do with fruits, you're gonna literally shit your life away. Go on YouTube and go look at all these ex-vegans who are just fruitarians. Go look at
yes.
Go look at what happened to their teeth.
Yes.
Go look at what happened to their pancreas. Go look at what happened to their digestive system. Go look at what happened to them.
Facts. And this is another thing too, Jenny, I want to say. A lot of people who go in about being fruitarianism, you know, as far as being into that fruitarianism, did you get proper blood work during that duration of time? Because I know when I was a raw foodist, when I was calling myself a fruitarian woman, I went and got my blood work done, and I was low in calcium, I was low in vitamin D, and my glucose levels were almost so high to where I would have been like pre-diabetic.
Yep.
And I was getting my blood work done twice a year. So that's another thing too. A lot of people talk about it, but they don't actually do all the physical scientific modalities coupled with going through that vegan experience.
Exactly.
They're just doing it. You don't know what your blood work looking like. You don't know this and this. I'm thinking I'm good. I'm thinking, what is he talking about? I'm feeling high. I got a lot of energy. But I get that blood work and I'm like, yo. And it's crazy because I felt that. I'm like, yo, I feel like I'm kind of probably low in calcium and vitamin D. Like I felt that before I even got my blood work done. I know my glucose levels are too high. I know that before I even got that done. So that's another thing I want to propose to people who, you know, make it seem as if veganism is absolute. Like it's nothing else. Are you actually getting the proper blood work done while you're going through this?
They're not. Most people are not. You know, and the thing is that like you know, people, again, it's like this, right? You have a theory that you can hit me. You have that theory, right? You think you can come and punch me in my face. You have that theory. I allow you to come and do that. Then I hit a 45 on you and knock you out. So your theory, as you're in your head, you're thinking you can achieve something. But what happens when you test is that you become in realization on whether you can actually do that or not, right? And so, like the sister said, balance is key, right?
Yes.
So if you guys look at I Am Prices right here, she is a licensed midwife. And really, that don't even really speak to her credibility. This woman has been in the desert with the indigenous native elders, okay? You want to talk about oral translation, you want to talk about oral transference of what to do, especially as a woman. Like, come on, it don't get no grander than that. You know what I'm saying? Oftentimes we're looking and reading and listening to people. All right, this isn't stuff that most people aren't getting, things that are passed down. Okay, I literally asked her what was up. All right, so it's like people don't have that. People don't have those people to go to, and I'm going to bring her on here too, and we're going to talk about that. However, people don't have these really credible sources to use. You know, like you said, they're going on YouTube and listening to people on IG, and you know what I mean? And it's like, yo, I look at people on IG, and I'm going to tell y'all right now, they are literally reading out of Dr. Laila Africa's book, African Holistic Health and Self-Diagnosis, and they're regurgitating it to you and making you think that they just know some stuff, but they really just listening to Dr. Laila Africa and ping it with Dr. Sabi, and now here they are in front of you, making you feel like you know something or you got something and it's making sense, but really it's not making sense. You know, what are some credible sources to research a proper diet? Because I follow all these pages for the past 6 years, and I've watched so many documentaries. I'm so lost. Do you want to speak on that?
Yeah, I can. Erica, if you can send me a DM, I can definitely send over some links for you. Okay.
Right.
Then two, I want to know too. Like, I don't know if you heard when I mentioned me and Johnny always talking and going back and forth on astrology. That's another really important key when it comes to this healing thing right now. In this day and age, in my opinion, a lot of things can be standardized as far as from being of having African genetics, just in this context we speak of, as far as being melanin dominant. So there are some standardizations as to what type of foods that will kind of be okay for all of us to eat to certain levels and degrees, right? But when it comes to the specifics on what you need specifically for you, that will be something that you will need to get. If you're into astrology or believe astrology, get someone who's really knowledgeable about medical astrology so they can see exactly what you need to do. And you getting some tests done with your genetics, because there are people out here who do genetic testings and they can let you know what genetics you have, what genes are on and off, and how you can turn certain genes on and off by your nutrition. But I'll send you some information. Just hit me up.
Right. You know, and I definitely agree with that, because, you know, everything doesn't work for everybody. And you do want to be specific to who you know, to what you are, and to how that goes for you. Can you talk about how you like to cook and prepare the plants you eat? I'm going to be honest with you right now. I really can't eat that many plant foods right now. And it's because I really messed up my digestive system, eating all the fruits, eating all of the beans, eating all of the salads, okay? Messed up my teeth, right? Like, couldn't even chew on this side for the longest time. Could not chew. That's that cancer rising stuff too. However, like,
oh, really?
Yeah, I could not.
Oh, I did not know that.
I could not chew on this side on the right. This how it's one of the ways where Aku was able to verify. Yeah. So yeah. Or, don't quote me on that. It was something to that effect though. But yeah. So I couldn't even chew on this side of my mouth for the longest. I was scared, y'all. I was scared. I couldn't even bite a fruit. So when people started talking about, oh, fruits and vegetables, you do the fruit, I couldn't even bite fruit because my teeth were so sensitive. And I was having dreams about them falling out. And
me too.
My simple self online talking about spiritual meaning, dreams, and teeth falling out. And my body like, girl, you dying. Like, what are you talking about, spiritual meaning? You're dying. You know what I'm saying? But right now, as far as the cook and prepare foods, and Karen will be better with this as well. However, right now, if I do eat any kind of plants, it's like fermented for the most part, and it's super cooked. That's the only thing I can eat. I tried to have some arugula out of my own garden. Y'all, I went to the bathroom. It actually gave me diarrhea. I couldn't even. It came right out. Right, it came right out. So, you know, not the salmon that I ate.
Yeah.
The plants. Okay, it was plants floating in there. So it's like, you know, people, again, this is when I said people have all these theories, but when you actually test it and put it to the test, the theories don't stand up. You know, it's just a bunch of what you heard somebody say, and you like them so much, and you're so emotionally, you know, drawn and connected that you just, you know, you got a whole blinder over your eyes. Wow, I had to think about my teeth falling out too. We all did. Yeah.
And like I said, I found out I was low in calcium and vitamin D. And you got to think too, it's not, you know, another thing too, a lot of us, I see, we focus on one particular mineral. One particular mineral. And if you know anything about herbs and herbalism and food science, you will know that all these herbs and foods consist of multiple minerals and vitamins to make that whole, to work all together as a whole group. There is not one thing that you really should be taking for just one particular mineral. You should be taking something for everything because they work together. So if you're low in calcium, you have to automatically presume that I'm probably going to be low in vitamin D, and I'm probably going to be low in magnesium and vitamin C. So you got calcium, magnesium, vitamin D, and vitamin C. These four work together for the absorption for every last one of them, okay? And those were the things that I was low in, okay? And I'm still working on building up those storages.